Today, we're gonna talk how to get food. And I know that you are passionate about this topic and you have some ideas that you would like to share, and I would love to hear it.
I'm always hungry, Daga. I'm always hungry because I do intermittent fasting. And so, yeah,
I know the
hunger.
feeling.
Yeah. Okay, so let me talk about my day. First of all, I drink my bulletproof coffee, which means I put ghee and MCT oil in my coffee in the morning. And then around 11 to 12 to 1, I have my lunch. And then I have my dinner around 3, 4, 5. 6 would be very late. Okay, so that's just the structure of the day. And I do my shopping on whatever day, Sunday, let's say, and I get a ton of vegetables. The number one thing I'm eating is vegetables. Then the second thing I do is I get grass-fed beef or free-range chicken, pork that's somehow organic. Who knows? Pigs love to eat anything, so I don't really know what that means. But there's a lot of controversy around meat, and a lot of people are like, oh, meat, it's bad for you. But from my in-depth research, meat is not bad for you. You need high quality protein, especially if you're working out. So to keep these guns strong and healthy, I have to eat high quality protein. So if you think about what has protein, people think nuts, they think beans, but the truth is beans are mostly carbohydrates, which if you want to watch your blood sugar, you need to be very careful. And nuts are very, they're not a high quality set of source of protein. The truth is almonds take more water than most things. So if you really are thinking about the environment, you should not be drinking, you should not be eating almonds. Anyways, I'm also allergic to most nuts, so I have a bias there. So I do grass-fed beef and I can get a lot of it, like 6 pounds, and I will put that in my crock pot when I get home. And when I say I'm really talking about my husband. So he'll put it in the crock pot. He's in charge of meat and he'll leave in there 4 hours, 5 hours. And then it's just perfect to eat throughout the whole week. Then I take all this romaine lettuce. I am not into kale. I think kale is very hard to digest. So I avoid kale unless it's cooked, and I just go big into the romaine. Also, spinach has been shown to slow down healing. It's not the best, honestly. I do like arugula, but sometimes people feel like arugula has too much flavor. But romaine is just a dark green. It's very neutral. It doesn't have too much flavor. So I wash a huge bucket of that and I just dunk it. I get the whole things of romaine. I am super cheap. I don't buy like the pre-washed and pre-cut. I wash it, I drain it, I actually dry it off with towels, clean towels, and then I chop it all up, put it in a big, huge plastic container, put that in my fridge. The idea is to have easy grab and go food. So I fill this container up with my salad, and then I have other things like olives and pickles and fun things that I like to put on my salad ready in other containers so that I can just get a bowl. In 3 minutes, I can have a salad that's fresh and big, and then I throw some meat on top, and that's my meal. And I am perfectly happy to eat that. I also sometimes, if it's like a fun meal, which maybe for lunch I'll do something different, I'll have a cassava tortilla, which is very low carb, and then I can eat some of the meat in the cassava and throw some salad on it. So that is basically what I do. I also stir fry the vegetables that are cooked, and I throw a bunch of ginger in there and a lot of cumin and spice it up. Sometimes I'll add some coconut milk to make it more of a curry. That is basically what I eat, and I'm very happy. One thing that my husband and I do like doing maybe once a week is we'll have a pizza, but it's on cauliflower. So it's very low carb, but it is a little bit more fun. Also, dairy is not my best thing, so we don't eat much. That might be the only cheese that we eat in the whole week. Some people can do dairy, and that's great, but I'm not great at dairy. So that's basically what I do. We eat out very rarely because I don't know what the oils they're using. Using rancid oil is very bad for your body, inflammation. Also, people for some reason like seed oils. People should not be eating seed oils, like canola oil. Those things are very bad for your body. It's inflammatory. So I would recommend very fresh, extra virgin olive oil. And don't ever cook with olive oil because high temperatures ruin it. I'm just like dumping a lot of stuff. I hope you're okay with this. And then butter. Like grass-fed butter is a great thing to cook with because it's good at high temperatures. Now, don't cook with olive oil. Use olive oil on your salad. Okay, I'm going to stop ranting now and see what do you do? You have any questions on my methods?
That sounds great, and it sounds actually very manageable. What you said about just preparing your food once or twice a week and then just grabbing the ingredients and mixing it. And I can imagine that you can also add different flavors. It doesn't have to be the same meal every day, right? How do you take care of that so that it's more fun in your diet?
I think that even though I am a foodie, like I love food, but I really don't get bored and I do add different things. So I have the cooked veggies that are stir fried. So I could have that with some meat on it. That could be a meal. Then I could take the cassava thing, throw some stuff on it, and then that's a meal. And then I just have a big salad with some veggies and some meat, and then that's a meal. And it's like ratios shifting them around or having two kinds of meat, like, oh, I'll have chicken one day and then I'll have beef the next day. It's really, I think that we overestimate how much variety we think we need. It's
Mhm.
really not. It's more like convenience, I think, is for me, and maybe other people will have a different ratio, but you could
Mhm.
also just make four different meals on Sunday and have them all ready. But the main thing is don't buy any snack foods. I forgot to say this. When you go to the store, be fully satisfied, don't be hungry, don't buy any processed foods at the store. Like, don't grab those fancy whatever they are. Just don't get those.
I agree with that, and I can be guilty of actually buying some snacks. And of course, it happens that I'm not prepared. And at the same time, I'm aware of my cravings during the day. So what I try to do is to have a bag of nuts. I know that maybe you wouldn't approve of that, but I do like my nuts. I usually toast them. I try to eat nuts and dry fruit, which are local. So I try to avoid nuts which have to come from South America while I live in Europe and even in that part of Europe that I'm currently in. Just being conscious about where the food comes from. So and whether it's the time of year that this food is available.
Oh,
So eating seasonal and eating from local stores, from local providers or local farmers. I also pay attention to that. I also have like a tiny little garden outside. So we have a little bit of onions and basil, arugula, which I usually treat more as like a just adding a little bit of flavor, not as a base of my salad, and some cherry tomatoes. And actually, I have a huge bush of kale. And I don't know if people do that. I really like kale, but I like to first massage my kale. And this actually makes it a little bit more easier to digest and more flavorful. So I massage my kale with lemon and with olive oil, and I let it sit for a few minutes or up to a couple of hours, and then it tastes better. It's easier to chew, and yeah, it's easier to digest as well. And I absolutely agree with you. Pre-preparing my food so that I don't end up panicking that there's nothing I can do, I can eat, and I just end up buying industrial, prepared, unknown food is basic.
I'm glad you brought up snacking, by the way. So I am also a human, just in case anyone was wondering. So I do get some fresh fruit. I try to get it in season also. That's a really important point. And then I will have some fresh fruit in the afternoon. And I am a chocolate lover. So I try to get the most. environmentally friendly, all the things, all the little like fair trade things on chocolate. And it's just very dark chocolate. So that is another thing that I do have some of the days of the week. And my husband does make cookies. So this is another thing I should share. Steve, my wonderful husband, makes these gluten-free. They are made with oatmeal, which I don't think is the best thing in the world, but I think instead of having like a big chocolate cake or something, I think having a cookie is fine. There's always like trade-offs, right? You're like, what are you comparing this to? Cashews are one of the only nuts that he and I are not allergic to. So we have cashews in there, some almonds, I mean not almonds, chocolate, fair trade, gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate. So chocolate chips. That is the other thing, because I do think we have to accept that we do like snacking as humans. And some people like more salty. And so if you like salty, you can make some hummus, something savory. I also think guacamole is a great thing. I also discovered I'm allergic to corn, so I can't have corn. So cassava chips, they're making a lot of things with cassava lately. I'm very impressed with that. So
Mhm.
getting some cassava chips and having it on some salsa, guacamole, having those kind of like little snacks around the house or carrot sticks or something like that. You have to accept that you're going to want to have something extra, and
Mhm.
having healthy options that are easy to get will help us not eat something that we regret after as soon as we finish eating it. All right, so we covered snacking, the main meals, anything else to cover, and how to get good food.
I would say be health let's support our own health, and let's be conscious about our environment where we live, and globally about our earth, and let's have a little bit of sense of humor around it as well.
Have some fun. All right. Thanks, Daga. If you have comments on how you get fresh food, you can leave them in the comments section. If you have another topic, let us know. Like, subscribe, and share with a friend.